the words and they made sense, but the instability of his surroundings was increasing, while Thorvald's handling sent sharp stabs of pain up his arm and somehow into his head, where they ended in red bursts to cloud his sight. Out of the reddish mist which had fogged most of the landscape there emerged a single object, a round white disk, and in Shan's clouded mind a well-rooted apprehension stirred. He struck out with his one hand, and through luck connected. The disk flew out of sight. His vision cleared enough so he could sight the wyvern who had been leaning over Thorvald's shoulder, centering their weird weapon on him. Making a great effort, Shan got out the words which he also shaped in his mind as he said them aloud. "You're not taking me over again." There was no emotion to be read in that jewel-banded face or in her unblinking eyes. He caught at Thorvald, determined to get across his warning. "Don't let them use those discs on us. I'll do my best." Only the haze had taken Thorvald again. Did one of the wyverns have a disc focused on them? Were they being pulled into one of those blank periods to awaken as prisoners once more, say in the cavern of the veil? The Terran fought with every ounce of willpower to escape unconsciousness, but he failed. This time he did not awaken half drowning in an underground stream or facing a green mist, and there was an ache in his arm which was somehow reassuring with the very insistence of pain. Before opening his eyes, his fingers crossed the smooth slick of a bandage there, went on to investigate by touch a sleep mat such as he had found in the cavern structure. Was he back in that web of rooms and corridors? Shann delayed opening his eyes until a kind of shame drove him to it. He first saw an oval opening almost the length of his body as it was stretched only a foot or two below the sill of that window, and through its transparent surface came the golden light of the sun. No green mist, no crystals mocking the stars. The room in which he lay was small, with smooth walls, much like that in which he had been imprisoned on the island, and there were no other furnishings save the mat on which he rested. Over him was a light cover netted of fibers resembling yarn, with feathers knotting into it to provide a downy upper surface. His clothing was gone, but the single covering was too warm and he pushed it away from his shoulders and chest as he wheeled up to see the view beyond the window. His torn arm came into full view. From wrist to elbow it was encased in an opaque skin sheath, unlike any bandage of his own world. Surely that had not come out of any survey aid pack. Shann gazed towards the window, but beyond lay only a reach of sky. Except for a lemon cloud or two ruffled high above the horizon, nothing broke that soft amber curtain. He might be quartered in a tower well above ground level, which did not match his former experience with wyvern accommodations. "Back with us again?" Thorvald, one hand lifting a door panel, came in. His ragged uniform was gone, and he wore only breeches of a slick green material and his own scuffed and battered boots. Shann settled back on the map. "Where are we?" "I think you might term this the capital city," Thorvald answered. "In relation to the mainland, we're on an island well out to sea, westward." "How did we get here?" "That climbed in the slab, the stream underground. Had it been an interior river running under the bed of the sea?" But Shann was not prepared for the other's reply. "By whooshing." "By what?" Thorvald nodded, his expression serious. "They whooshed us here. Listen, Lantee, when you jumped down to mix it with that fork-tailed thing, did you wish you had the wolverines with you?" Shann thought back. His memories of what had occurred before that battle were none too clear. But yes, He had wished Taggy and Togi present at that moment to distract the enraged beast. You mean I wished them? The whole idea was probably a part of Wyvern jargon of dreaming, and he added, or did I just dream everything? There was the bandage on his arm, the soreness under that bandage, but also there had been Logally's lash brand back in the cavern, which had bitten into his flesh with the pain of a real blow. No, you weren't dreaming. You happened to be tuned in one of those handy little gadgets our lady friends here use. And so tuned in, your desire for the Wolverines being pretty powerful just then, they came. Shann grimaced. This was unbelievable. Yet, there were his meetings with Logally and Trav. How could anyone rationally explain them? And how had he, in the beginning, been jumped from the top of the cliff on the island of his marooning into the midst of an underground flood without any conscious memory of an intermediate journey? How does it work? He asked simply. Thorvald laughed. You tell me. They have these discs, one to a wyvern, and they control forces with them. Back there on the beach, we interrupted a class in such control. They were the novices learning their trade. We stumbled on something here which can't be defined or understood by any of our previous standards of comparison. It's frankly magic, judged by our terms. Are we prisoners? Shann wanted to know. Ask me something I'm sure of. I've been free to come and go within limits. No one's exhibited any signs of hostility. Most of them simply ignore me. I've had 2 interviews via this mind-reading act of theirs with their rulers, or elders, or chief sorceresses. All 3 titles seem to apply. They ask questions. I answer as best I can. But sometimes we appear to have no common meeting ground. Then I ask some questions. They evade gracefully, or reply in a kind of unintelligible double talk. And that's as far as our communication has progressed so far. Taggy and Togi have a run of their own, and as far as I can tell are better satisfied with life than I am. Oddly enough, they respond more quickly and more intelligently to orders. Perhaps this business of being shuttered around by the disk has conditioned them in some way. What about these wyverns? Are they all female? No, but their tribal system is strictly matriarchal, which follows a pattern even Terra once knew. The fertile Earth Mother and her priestesses, who became the witches when the gods overruled the goddesses. The males are few in number and lack the power to activate the disk. In fact, Thorvald laughed ruefully, one gathers that in this civilization, our opposite numbers have, more or less, the status of pets at the best and necessary evils at the worst, which put us at a disadvantage from the start. You think that they won't take us seriously because we are males? Might just work out that way. I've tried to get through to them about the danger from the throngs, telling them what it would mean to them to have the beetleheads settle in here for good. They just brush aside the whole idea. Can't you argue that the Throgs are male too, or aren't they? The survey officer shook his head. That's a point no human can answer. We've been sparring with Throgs for years, and there have been libraries of reports written about them and their behavior patterns, all of which add up to about 2 paragraphs of proven facts and hundreds of surmises, beginning with the probable and skimming out into the wild fantastic. You can claim anything about a Throg and find a lot of very intelligent souls ready to believe you. But whether those beetleheads squatting over on the mainland are able to answer to he, she, or it, your solution is just as good as mine. We've always considered the ones we fight to be males, but they might just as possibly be Amazons. Frankly, these wyverns couldn't care less either. At least that's the impression they give. But anyway, Shann observed, it hasn't come to we're all girls together either. Thorvald laughed again. "Not so you can notice.